Joining me now, Florida member of Congress, Republican Byron Donalds. Good to see you. Happy New Year to you and the family.
Good to be with you, man. Happy New Year.
So, Byron, the main concern is if DEI isn't forced as a focus, you will not have representation and inclusion of minorities, regardless of foundation of merit. And that's why it needs to be a point of emphasis. What is your response to that argument, and how do you assure that everybody gets a fair chance?
Well, first of all, let me just say that DEI, and it's a construct of DEI, hasn't even been around long enough to even make that kind of a claim. We've had diversity of viewpoints, diversity ideas, not just in the federal government, but in the private sector for decades. The equity piece that was really introduced during the Biden-Harris administration at the federal level is the one that has a cause of concern because it ignores merit, it ignores skill sets, it ignores the ability to actually do the job and puts your demographic criteria at the front of the line before your actual qualifications. Look, I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to make sure that people who are getting jobs are qualified to do them. That is most important. But you can't put just diversity for diversity's sake ahead of qualifications. It's not 1972, it's 2025. We're in a different phase in the United States of America. And so I would argue that, yes, meritocracy does matter, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever the case might be. You have to have the skill set, you have to have the merit in order to acquire these jobs. Your diversity or your intersectionality cannot be the driving force because that does discriminate against other people who might be more qualified for that job.
And what about people of color who are qualified but don't get the opportunities that people who are in the majority get because of the inclination of employers and legacy and other acceptance mechanisms?
Well, let's just dissect that for a second. There's always going to be a legacy bias because the truth of the matter is that people who have legacy or have different connections, they're going to provide those connections to their children. That's just a fact of life. That's not a white thing. That's a parent thing. Every parent does that regardless of their skin color. You could look in the NBA right now where you have a lot of prospects moving up who are now the children of former NBA players. Why is that? Because their parents, their fathers actually went through the NBA process, whether they were superstars like LeBron James or not superstars, but they were able to use their connections to help their children achieve a better path forward in professional sports. That happens in every industry in our country. So put legacy aside. The key piece is if you have the talent and the ability to actually walk in the door and earn a position, yes, you sometimes have to work your way up from the bottom. I started my career in 2003 out of college. Black kid in Southwest Florida, had no connections. I started at the bottom. I worked my way up. This is how it is supposed to work. But if you just supercharge somebody past the initial starting blocks, do they have the requisite skill to get there? And do they have the requisite experience to stay there? That's where some of the DEI stuff that has come out. And again, this is very recent. Like I said, diversity has been a staple of corporate America for decades. That's something that's been there. But the equity component, trying to move somebody ahead of the line simply because of their intersectionality, actually does not work. It is discriminatory. And if you don't believe me, ask Harvard how that's worked out, where they were sued in federal court for using an equity lens and ignoring the merit that was achieved by Asian American students.
Yeah. Representative Donalds, I know the case well. I cited it in the introduction. I appreciate you articulating the position of the administration. It's good to see you. We'll talk again soon. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.